I remember the first time I played Laufey out loud. Not through headphones, not quietly or privately, but out loud where someone else could hear. My father was in the other room, and when he walked in, he cracked a joke. Something about putting on Van Halen instead. I laughed with him, but deep down I felt a familiar instinct, a small, embarrassing urge to turn the volume down. It's strange, isn't it? How even now, as adults, men still flinch at being caught enjoying something soft, something beautiful, something we're told isn't meant for us. It feels like, not long ago, culture wanted men to be soft. Open up, they said. Show emotion. Be gentle. Be emotionally intelligent. But somewhere along the way, we changed our minds. Now the message is that men have gone too far, too sensitive, too feminine, and too soft. It's cultural whiplash, a pendulum swing that never seems to rest. And I think it's because we live in a time where nobody can simply be anymore. Everything is performance. Every act of softness, every gesture of vulnerability has to mean something. For a while, society encouraged men to participate in the feminine, to be okay cracking a tender joke, or showing affection, or caring about beauty. But when men actually did, the illusion shattered. It exposed that our idea of a perfect man was never meant to be real. A 6-foot gentleman millionaire who never falters, never feels, never bleeds. Now we oscillate between celebrating and shaming the same traits, not because we care about truth, but because online, contradiction is a sport. But beneath the noise, I think there's something deeper. We still define men by what they provide. We love the idea of empathy in men, until it stops serving someone else. We praise emotional intelligence, as long as it stays compartmentalized, stoic, and manageable. We like the idea of men who feel, as long as they don't make us feel uncomfortable in return. It's not emotional fluency we want, it's emotional obedience. Maybe that's why Laufey, of all artists, became such a lightning rod, because she's not intimidating, she's not divine or distant. She's a theater girl.
We'll give you room for 5 sentences that describe who you are, where you're from.
Icelandic, Chinese, musical theater, jazz obsessed, cellist, pianist, songwriter.
Serial thief.
Serial thief.
She stole my cereal.
Yeah.
Human and accessible. The kind of person who apologizes mid-performance for rambling. Yes, this actually happened at the A Matter of Time tour in Boston. Her music doesn't demand that you decode it. When I listen to her, I personally feel at peace. It's like I'm walking into a ballroom in some imagined 17th century castle, about to be greeted by someone kind and beautiful. Someone who reminds me what love sounds like. I think that's why men love her music, because she gives them permission to exist in softness without irony. Other artists, Mitski, Lana, and Phoebe, represent the divine feminine, the archetypal womanhood, mysterious and a little bit unreachable for men. Laufey, by contrast, embodies the everyday, the playful and the shy. She makes gentleness feel safe to approach. But that safety comes with its own backlash. When men share that they love her music, it's usually mocked, not because of the music itself, but because it threatens a boundary that many people don't realize they've built, a kind of emotional gatekeeping around femininity. It's as if men aren't allowed to find peace in something beautiful unless they can also prove their masculinity elsewhere, as if softness must be earned like a trophy, not chosen. Softness in men doesn't threaten people because it's weak. It threatens because it breaks the myth that protectors can't also be gentle, that strength and empathy are opposites and not extensions. For centuries, we've truly romanticized the protector archetype, the stoic husband, the soldier, the father who never cries. And even as modern culture claims to dismantle that image, we just keep resurrecting it online, only more aesthetically. Men used to go to war, real men don't listen to Laufey, put down that Claro and grab a beer. It's nostalgia disguised as ideology. We forget that biology isn't morality and that our ancient instincts for protection don't have to dictate our emotional lives, but they still haunt us, especially in a digital world that rewards extremes. The trad aesthetic, the grind set, the ironic hyper-masculine memes, they all spring from the same insecurity, men trying to find a clear role in a time where their traditional one no longer makes sense. And I get it. When the world no longer needs you to protect it, you start to wonder what you're even for. Maybe that's why softness feels dangerous, because it implies we might have to redefine strength altogether. I've felt this conflict a lot. Small moments where I'm liking something delicate, but then I feel the need to justify it to my friends, almost like I'm in a psychology class. A slow pop song, a fruity drink, a beautiful card, a painting, or a nice love story. And every time, there's a whisper in the back of my head saying, "This isn't for you." It's subtle, but it's definitely real. It's a lifelong conditioning that beauty is for women and utility is for men. I think that's why Laufey's music hits something deep. It lets men step into a perspective they were never socialized into, to experience romance not as conquest, but as adoration. And maybe that's what men are actually searching for when they listen to her. A kind of calm, a return to a childlike wonder, a place where emotion isn't a performance or weakness. Because for most men, life is very loud. It's physically demanding, externally validated, constantly measured in output. And in that world, something like Laufey feels pretty refreshing. I'm not sure where masculinity goes from here. Maybe we're entering a new phase, one that's more aesthetic, more open, and more romantic. Or maybe we're just swinging back to old stoicism, because people crave the clarity that archetypes and stereotypes bring. Either way, I think both men and women are pretty tired, because we keep telling each other how to be human. If real men listen to Laufey, I don't think it's a statement, and I don't think it's a rebellion against traditional gender norms either. I think it's renewal. It's the sound of men realizing they don't have to earn the right to feel. When I think back to that moment, standing in a kitchen, music playing, my dad's joke hanging in the air, I don't feel shame anymore. I just feel empathy. For him, for myself, and for all the men who were taught that beauty was something you could only protect but never experience. Maybe that's what Laufey really represents. Not femininity, but permission. A reminder that gentleness is not gendered, it's just rare in our society. So if real men listen to Laufey, maybe it's not because they're weak. Maybe it's because they're learning that softness doesn't make them any less strong. Maybe it just makes them human.